Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going deep on e-learning platforms.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's a big one.
it is a big one.
Huge.
Yeah, we've got a whole stack of stuff here, articles, industry reports.
Hmm.
We even found a blog post from an LMS provider.
Oh, wow.
And the numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
The industry has grown like 900% since 2000.
900%.
That's wild.
It's unbelievable. I mean, that's not just growth. It's a total,
Transformation.
yeah, like a total shift in how we learn.
Absolutely.
It really is. When you think about it, it's kind of mind-boggling. It's like e-learning was just bubbling away, in the background, and then boom, pandemic hits. Everyone's working remotely. Suddenly, everyone needs online learning, like right now.
Right.
But what's interesting is looking at all this research, it's clear that this isn't just, a pandemic fad.
Right.
There are bigger things at play that were already pushing e-learning, into the mainstream.
Okay, so let's unpack that a little.
Mm-hmm.
What's really driving this massive shift towards e-learning then?
Well, first off, technology's been huge. I mean, think about AI, how it's changing everything. We're not talking about replacing teachers with robots here.
No.
It's about, creating a learning experience that's more effective and more personalized for each student.
Right.
Like those adaptive learning platforms
Oh, yeah.
that can change based on the learner's, strengths and weaknesses, even in real time.
Yeah, I was reading about those AI platforms that can tell when a learner's getting frustrated.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and adjust the pace for the content.
Wow.
It's like having a personal tutor in the software.
Exactly. And it's not just personalization either.
No.
AI can now, help create the courses, build simulations for hands-on training.
Wow.
It can even make different kinds of content, text images, videos, interactive exercises, the whole works.
So it sounds like AI is doing a lot of the grunt work. So teachers and instructional designers can, focus on the human side of things.
Exactly. It's not about replacing them. It's about giving them, better tools and more insights.
Right.
But technology is just one piece of the puzzle.
Okay.
Accessibility and flexibility are also huge drivers here.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Anyone with an internet connection can take these courses
Yeah.
from anywhere at any time.
Right.
That's a game changer for people who, can't do traditional classes
Mm-hmm.
because of work or family or where they live.
Yeah, it's like breaking down the walls of the classroom
Yeah,
and making learning available to everybody.
absolutely.
Which brings us to another big factor, right?
What's that?
This need for continuous learning,
Oh, yeah.
because the world's changing so fast.
It is. The skills you learned 5 years ago might already be outdated.
Right.
Jobs are evolving so quickly. And e-learning platforms are a way for people to, upskill or reskill quickly.
Yeah.
And affordably.
And our sources point out that employers are really starting to value, online certifications, micro-credentials, as proof that you have those in-demand skills.
Right. It's not just about degrees anymore. It's about showing that you can actually do the work.
Okay, so we've got technology driving innovation, accessibility, breaking down barriers,
Right.
and this constant need to learn new things. But what about the bottom line?
Yeah.
Is e-learning actually cost-effective?
Well, it can be.
Okay.
But you got to look beyond the initial price tag.
Okay.
Traditional training has all these hidden costs.
Like what?
Travel, venue rentals, lost productivity.
Right.
And with e-learning, then those costs are way lower. Plus, think about the scale.
Yeah.
You can train tons of employees at the same time online.
Right.
You just can't do that with traditional methods.
One of our sources mentioned that IBM saved a ton of money by switching to e-learning.
How much?
Like $200 billion.
Wow, that's a serious case study.
Yeah, it is. But it's not just about saving money, right? It's
Yeah.
got to be effective, too.
Exactly.
And that's where the personalization and engagement of e-learning come in.
Right, it's not just watching videos anymore.
Yeah.
We're talking interactive simulations, gamified learning, AI-powered feedback systems to keep people motivated.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like creating a whole immersive learning environment
Yeah,
that actually gets results.
exactly.
So we've talked about what's driving the rise of e-learning. It's clearly a huge force changing how we learn.
It is.
But what about the impact on the learners themselves?
Yeah.
What are the actual benefits of all this online learning?
Well, one of the biggest is personalization.
Okay.
Traditional classrooms have a hard time catering to, all the different needs of students.
Oh.
But with e-learning, you can go at your own pace, review stuff as needed, and even get content tailored to how you learn best.
I bet that's especially helpful for students who feel lost or overwhelmed in a regular classroom.
Oh, definitely.
Gives them more control
Exactly.
and lets them focus on the areas where they need more help.
Right, and that personalized approach can actually lead to better learning outcomes.
Really?
Yeah, studies show that e-learning can boost knowledge retention rates by like 25 to 60%.
Wow, compared to traditional methods.
Yeah.
That's a big difference.
It makes sense when you think about it. It's like the
Yeah.
difference between reading a textbook and having a one-on-one conversation with an expert.
Right. But it's not just about remembering facts, right?
Oh,
E-learning can help you develop real skills,
oh,
too.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially in fields like tech business healthcare,
Hmm.
where hands-on experience is so important.
Right.
Think about virtual simulations.
Oh, yeah?
You can practice real-world scenarios
Mm-hmm.
in a safe environment.
Right.
Build your confidence and, reduce the chance of making mistakes in the real world.
I read about medical students using VR to practice surgery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they can make mistakes and learn from them virtually
Hmm.
without any real consequences.
That's amazing. And those simulations are getting more and more realistic,
Yeah.
with things like haptic feedback to make it really immersive.
Like blurring the lines between virtual and real.
Yeah,
Making learning more hands-on and engaging.
absolutely.
And this focus on practical skills.
Yeah.
I mean, that's got to be good for your career too, right?
Oh, for sure. People with in-demand skills that they got through e-learning,
Yeah.
they have a real advantage in the job market. We're seeing more and more employers who value those online certifications and micro-credentials.
So it's not just learning for the sake of learning.
Right.
It's about giving people the skills they need to succeed
Yeah, exactly.
in a world that's constantly changing.
And that's where e-learning really shines.
Mm-hmm.
It can give you those targeted training programs
Right.
that match up with what employers are looking for.
Okay, so we've talked about the present and past of e-learning,
Yeah.
but what about the future?
Oh.
What are the big trends shaping online learning going forward?
Well, one trend that's really exciting is this whole rise of generative AI.
Oh, yeah.
We're already seeing it used to, personalize those learning paths and create interactive content.
Right.
But it can do so much more.
Oh, right.
Imagine AI that can generate entire courses just for you
Wow.
based on how you learn best.
Oh.
Or virtual tutors that answer your questions, give you feedback instantly.
That sounds kind of sci-fi.
I know, right?
But is it actually possible?
It's getting there. The advancements in AI are happening so fast.
Yeah.
I mean, look at ChatGPT.
Mm.
People are already using it to create some really engaging learning stuff.
Yeah, and it's not just about creating the content either, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Generative AI can analyze all that learner data.
Right.
Give you personalized recommendations, even predict who's going to fall behind.
Wow.
That kind of data can make e-learning so much more effective.
It's like having a virtual coach
Yeah.
guiding you through the whole learning process.
Exactly. But AI isn't the only big trend.
Okay, what else is changing?
The way we actually consume the content is shifting too.
How so?
Well, micro-learning and mobile learning are getting huge,
Mm-hmm.
especially with younger generations.
Right.
They're used to getting information in those little bite-sized pieces.
Yeah, and their phones and tablets.
Exactly. It makes sense though, right?
Yeah.
We're all so busy.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to find big chunks of time for learning.
Right.
Micro-learning lets you fit it into your day,
Yeah.
Watch a 5-minute video on your commute, do a quick quiz while you're waiting for a meeting.
Makes it much more manageable.
And mobile learning takes that even further.
Okay.
Like, imagine using augmented reality to practice assembling something
Wow.
right on your kitchen table.
Wow.
Or taking a virtual field trip to the Amazon.
Through your phone.
Yeah, those immersive technologies are becoming more and more accessible through mobile devices.
It's like bringing the classroom to the world.
Exactly. And then you've got the whole social media aspect, which is leading to these social learning platforms.
Oh, yeah. I mean, learning is often a social thing.
It is. And online platforms can make it easier for people to collaborate, share their knowledge. Think about discussion forums,
Yeah.
virtual study groups, peer feedback,
Right. It creates that sense of community.
which is so important for online learners.
Absolutely. Especially since they could feel isolated otherwise.
Exactly. And then you've got data analytics.
Oh, yeah. Data's everywhere.
It is. And with all this learning data online,
Mm-hmm.
we can track progress in so much detail,
Right.
see where students are struggling, tailor instruction, and constantly improve the programs.
It's like having a dashboard
Yeah.
showing you how everyone's interacting with the material.
Right.
What's working, what needs tweaking.
And that data can totally change how we design and deliver these learning experiences.
Absolutely. And it goes beyond individual courses, too.
Okay.
You can use that data to see those bigger trends in e-learning,
Like what?
how people are engaging with the content,
what they struggle with.
So we can make e-learning better for everyone.
Exactly. Okay, so we've talked about e-learning in general,
Yeah.
but how is this shift impacting specific areas?
Like what?
Well, let's start with the corporate world.
Okay. How is e-learning changing the way companies train their employees?
I mean, it's been a game changer.
Really?
With all this remote and hybrid work,
Yeah.
those traditional classroom trainings are just not practical anymore.
Right.
Too expensive, too.
Mm-hmm.
E-learning is flexible,
Yeah.
cost-effective.
Right.
You can train people anywhere, anytime.
And it's not just about convenience and saving money, is it?
No, it's not. Companies can now tailor those training programs to specific roles and how each person learns best.
Which should lead to better performance and productivity.
Right, we're seeing more micro-learning, too.
Oh, yeah.
And just-in-time training, where employees can get those little learning modules right when they need them.
It's like having a personal training library.
Exactly. And with those AI platforms, companies can track how everyone's doing, give personalized feedback.
Make sure the training is actually working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That data can help them see where the skill gaps are.
Right.
And, if they're getting their money's worth from the training.
Okay, so what about higher education?
Higher ed.
How is e-learning impacting universities and colleges?
Well, it's a tricky one.
Okay.
On one hand, you've got this trend towards online courses and degrees driven by things like affordability, flexibility, and the fact that people need to keep learning throughout their lives. Online learning lets universities reach a wider audience, too.
Okay.
Working professionals, students in remote areas.
Right.
People who just can't do those traditional on-campus programs.
And with all these micro-credentials, alternative ways to show your skills.
Online learning is becoming more valuable in the job market.
So it's not just about getting that 4-year degree anymore.
No, it's about getting the skills employers want.
But hasn't the move to online been tough for higher ed?
It has. There are worries about keeping the quality high.
Right.
Making sure students are engaged and bridging that digital divide.
Yeah, not everyone has the same access to tech.
Right.
And how do you recreate that campus experience?
That's a tough one. They're trying different things.
Like what?
Virtual classrooms, online discussions, social learning platforms, even VR campus tours.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
And the role of the professor is changing too, right?
Absolutely. They can't just lecture anymore.
Oh.
They got to be facilitators, mentors, tech support, even guiding students through the whole online journey.
So e-learning is making higher ed rethink everything.
Yeah, how we teach, how we learn the whole thing.
Okay, so now for the youngest learners.
Oh, K-12.
Yeah. How is e-learning impacting those classrooms?
That one's a mixed bag.
How so?
It has so much potential.
Okay.
But some risks, too.
Like what?
Well, e-learning tools can personalize things.
Yeah.
Engage kids with interactive content.
Give them immediate feedback.
Right.
But there are worries about screen time,
Yeah.
The digital divide, and kids need that social interaction.
Right. It's all about finding the balance.
It is. Technology is a powerful tool, but it's not a magic solution.
Exactly.
You got to use it carefully and strategically.
And always with the child's best interests in mind.
Exactly. And you got to get everyone involved.
Like who?
Parents, teachers, policymakers. We need to make sure all kids have access to technology.
Right.
And that those e-learning tools are actually benefiting them.
Okay, so we've seen how e-learning is impacting all these different areas, from corporate training to higher ed to K-12.
Yeah.
It's definitely changing how we learn and work.
It is. But with all this growth and advancement.
There's got to be some downsides too, right?
Oh, there definitely are.
Okay, so let's talk about those. What are some of the potential problems with this e-learning revolution? Well, we talked about the digital divide earlier.
But there are other potential downsides too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Some people say online learning can be isolating.
Right.
You miss out on that social interaction.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it's something we need to think about. The educators, the platform designers.
Right.
It's not just about putting content online. You got to create a sense of community, build those connections between learners.
Some of our sources talk about adding social features to the platforms.
Oh, yeah.
Like discussion forums, virtual study groups, peer feedback, things like that.
Exactly. And it's about making learning more active.
Right.
Encouraging collaboration. Instead of just passively watching or reading.
Right.
Learners need to, apply what they've learned.
Yeah.
Work together, share their ideas.
It's about making online learning more engaging and social.
Yeah, even if it's happening online.
Another challenge that comes up is motivation,
Oh,
self-discipline.
that's a big one.
In a classroom, you've got to schedule a teacher to keep you accountable,
Right.
your classmates.
That's social pressure.
But online, it's easy to get distracted,
Oh, yeah.
procrastinate, lose motivation.
It happens. It takes a lot of self-discipline to learn online.
So how do we fix that?
Well, the platforms themselves can be designed to offer more support, like setting clear goals, breaking the content into smaller pieces,
Right.
giving regular feedback, maybe even adding some game-like element.
Oh, yeah, to make it more fun.
Exactly. You got to create an experience that's flexible, but also supportive.
Right.
Because everyone learns differently.
Okay, and we can't forget about data privacy.
Oh, that's a huge one.
With all this information being collected, there are real concerns about how it's used and protected.
Absolutely. The e-learning providers need to take this seriously.
Yeah?
Strong encryption, secure storage, clear privacy policies.
Right, so people know what's happening with their data.
Exactly. Transparency is key.
And it's not just about keeping data safe from hackers.
No, it's not.
It's about using AI and other technologies ethically.
You're right. We have to think about bias in algorithms, the potential for misuse,
Right.
and making sure there's human oversight.
Ultimately, it's about using technology to help people learn,
Yeah,
not to exploit them.
exactly.
So we've explored the amazing potential of e-learning, but we've also talked about some of the risks.
It's complicated.
It is. There are both good and bad things to consider.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. E-learning isn't a perfect solution,
Right.
but it can change how we learn and work.
Absolutely.
It's up to us to make sure it's used for good.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into e-learning, what's the biggest takeaway for you?
I think it's that human element.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
technology is powerful,
Yeah.
but it can't replace human connection.
Right.
Creativity, critical thinking.
We need to make sure e-learning is focused on people.
Yeah, and that it helps everyone reach their full potential.
Well said. So e-learning isn't just about technology. It's about people.
It is.
And using technology to make learning better for everyone.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We hope this has given you some things to think about
Lots to ponder.
as the world of online learning keeps evolving.
It's always changing.
Thanks for listening.